To walk through our budget spreadsheet and how we set it up so that it could help make sense since this is a rather large program and we were trying to capture a lot of different types of expenses. I'm hoping this will help clarify what we intended to convey in our budget template. So right here we have the general example that they have for the budget, including faculty, adjunct faculty, and so forth. But they said, you can modify the spreadsheet as needed, and we did need to capture a lot of different types of expenses from different departments and so on. So what I'm going to show you is it's what we set up here. So before getting into this table that has a lot of information in it, I want to walk you through this table here and what we've added here. So what we've used here is to try to show over different years, year 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so that carries down to here, year 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then what the different courses are that'll be online from the different departments, and the number of sections that they would have, the students per section, and then the number of teaching credits. So we wanted to be able to, capture, okay, what courses are online, when, fall versus winter, and then also be able to capture just how many students are actually getting are we adding to the system through this, and then because these would all presumably be recruited students, new ones that would be attracted to our program. And then over here what we have is basically the teaching credits, like what that looks like. So now that we have this kind of outline here, we can see that as time goes on, for example, like in year 1, 453 would not run. That's a pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics class. But in year 2, it would start to run because these students would start to matriculate and would have taken the prerequisites to actually be eligible for that course. And so you can see that it continues on that direction. So what we have down here is this is the full budget for 16 students per year. Out of this, and that's because of the space and teaching and pedagogical restrictions that we have with our lab course. Okay, so with all of that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what our budget has here. So when we're looking at what it is that we have for teaching credits and the amount of faculty that we have, basically what we did is we added up the number of teaching credits that are out of here and then divided it by the number 18, which is the number of FTE faculty that we need needed for an 18 credit year. So basically the equivalent of one faculty member. Okay, so that's that. We also put in that we needed some support from a program coordinator, and then also for the COT as well, and then student worker hours to be able to help support the laboratory exercise. The students that would be enrolled is calculated here. So basically what we've done is we've calculated 30 students, which is the number that we have out of that class, for example, in the fall, and then and 16. So these two we would have added together as 30 plus 16. So that's how we got that 46 number. And then 48 refers to 16 students. They are the same students, but they're in 3 different classes. So we can see that down here. These 3 classes are then reflected in the number that we have up here. So, and then this is basically following the equations and the budgets that we've been given through from the spreadsheet that was supplied to us. So that then flows through what we have for our for these costs, and then we do the same thing then for year 2. And we can see that things start to tick upwards, both in the number of faculty hours and then also the number of students. So now we were talking about 62 students, and then I went through and put in the comments to try to help clarify exactly which ones they were and which classes and so on. So you can see how this continues to flow through. So then this translates to being our tuition revenue and budget expenses that are that's associated with the different types of program. So I hope that helps in terms of being able to appreciate what we have here. One of the things that I've added as a in here is if we are able to expand to 32 students per year. So if we increase and we have an expansion and add another section of labs to this, then we see that this kind of flows through. So I tried to highlight the years that were changed here to try to help illustrate some of the changes that we'd see in revenue and also in faculty hours and staffing needs. So that's the quick and dirty view of that. Equipment supply and so on is illustrated here. So for the BMS 453, the pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics course, the consumables are listed here. Annual cost is listed here. So that's what we're paying every year to help replenish supplies that were used. And then there's the equipment, the one-time expenses. I should add that this particular thing here is a rough estimate of the contractor costs that we need to repurpose PADNOS 208 for the laboratory. Because the KHS in 3310 is unavailable to us to use those this biosafety hoods. And so these are the costs of the hoods, and then this is the cost of this. That number could vary. We may be able to repurpose hoods from other sources. So those conversations are ongoing, and we're getting budget numbers for it. But we included the higher end of those numbers to make sure that we actually can we have an idea of what the cost would be. And then this lists all of the different types of items that we have here. One thing that's important is just yellow represents these consumables, and then green is representing the one-time costs. And so we tried to aggregate and put them here, but then we've laid them out according to the different weeks that they would be used during the course of during the course of the semester. So I hope that helps. There's some links in there as well that could be useful. Same thing for 463. One thing to note about 463 is that we don't really have any of these one-time expenses here because the equipment utilized is cited in the BMS 453 equipment list. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this helps, and of course, let us know if you have any questions as you're going through this. It's a big program.